Every woman knows this strange, painful pattern. While you're giving everything, he acts indifferent. He doesn't answer, he doesn't try, he doesn't fight. But when you finally stop chasing, when you finally close your heart and say, enough, suddenly he's desperate. Suddenly he remembers every sweet word, every promise, every reason to keep you close. And in those moments, you can't help but wonder, where was this energy when I needed it? Why does he only find his love when I've already found my strength? Why does it take walking away to shake him awake? Could it be that your absence speaks louder than your presence ever did? And if that's true, what does it really mean when he comes back? It's one of the most heartbreaking patterns a woman can ever live through. You gave him your best. You gave your patience, your laughter, your loyalty. You answered his calls no matter how late. You forgave when he pulled away. You stayed when part of you wanted to run. And yet, when you were loving him the hardest, he treated your presence like it was optional. He acted like you were replaceable, like no matter how much you gave, he could always count on you to stay. So you stopped asking, you stopped pleading, you stopped chasing him to see your worth, and the silence was deafening at first. Nights felt heavy, your chest felt hollow, your phone stayed dark. But somewhere in that silence you found the strength to walk away. And that's when it happened. The same man who ignored your effort suddenly woke up. The texts came flooding in. The calls started again. He wanted to know where you were, what you were doing, who you might be with. And as much as you wanted to feel relief, as much as part of you had prayed for this moment, the truth is, it stung. Because deep down you couldn't help but ask, where was this energy when I was standing in front of you? Where was this urgency when I was begging you to see me? That's the cruel reality. You had to break before he noticed you were worth holding on to. You had to go silent before he finally heard your absence. It's almost like he couldn't see the value of your love until it slipped through his hands. And that thought lingers in the back of your mind. If he really loved me, why didn't he fight for me sooner? Why did it take me walking away for him to realize what he lost? It's a lonely pain because on the outside people think you should feel flattered that he came back. They say, see, he realized how much you mean to him. But they don't see the cracks in your heart, the way you still lie awake replaying all the nights he ignored you, all the days he acted like you didn't matter. They don't understand how empty it feels to know that your presence wasn't enough to move him, but your absence was. And sometimes it makes you question everything. You wonder if his return is real love or if it's just fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of losing someone who gave him so much. The fear of realizing he's not as invincible as he thought. And while he tries to convince you with promises and words, your heart can't forget the way it felt when you were invisible. That's the paradox every woman knows too well. You wanted him to choose you, to fight for you, to love you fully when you were there. But now that you're gone, now that you've pulled back, now that you've gathered your strength, suddenly he decides you're irreplaceable. And as much as you long to hear those words, part of you aches with the truth. It should not have taken losing me for you to see me. So you sit with that quiet pain, torn between the part of you that still wants to believe in him and the part of you that knows love should never come too late. And, in that space, one haunting question refuses to leave your mind. If I hadn't walked away, would he have ever come back at all? So why does this happen? Why does it take you walking away for him to finally wake up? Why does he act careless when you're standing right there, but suddenly panic when you decide you're done? The truth is, most men don't feel the weight of love when it's constant. They don't feel the urgency when they're comfortable. When you're giving him all of your time, your patience, your forgiveness, he settles into it like a soft pillow, secure, unshaken, convinced you'll always be there. Your presence becomes the background of his life, like oxygen, always there, always reliable, always unnoticed, until it's gone. And that's the heartbreaking part for women. Because while you were loving with both hands, while you were pouring your soul into keeping the relationship alive, he was breathing easy, assuming nothing would ever change. You felt the fear of losing him every time he pulled away, but he never felt that fear for you, because he thought he didn't have to. He thought your love was permanent, no matter how little he gave in return. It's not that he didn't care, it's that he didn't imagine life without you. He didn't picture the silence of your absence. He didn't consider what it would feel like to reach for you and find nothing there. And so he coasted, blind to the truth that love is not a guarantee. It's a choice that has to be made every day. And maybe part of the reason women experience this so painfully is because of how we're taught to love. From the time we're young, we're told that patience, sacrifice, and endless giving are proof of devotion. Movies, stories, even the examples we grow up watching, they paint this picture of a woman who holds everything together while waiting for a man to realize her worth. And so, you give and give, believing that one day he'll see. But what often happens is that the more you give without boundaries, the more he assumes he'll never lose you. The more secure he feels, the less urgent his effort becomes. And then something shifts. You. When you finally find the strength to walk away, when your absence becomes real, that's when his fear finally wakes up. Suddenly he feels what you've been feeling all along. He wonders what you're doing, who you're with. If you're already moving on, he feels the emptiness that you carried for so long. And for the first time, he realizes what he's been taking for granted. It's unfair, isn't it? That it takes your silence for him to hear you, that it takes your distance for him to feel your value, that it takes you leaving for him to finally come running back. But this is the cycle so many women live through. Not because they're not enough, but because men often need to feel loss before they understand love. And here's the hidden truth that hurts to admit. Sometimes he doesn't come back because of love. Sometimes he comes back because of ego. Because the thought of losing someone who once gave everything is more than his pride can handle. He doesn't always miss you. Sometimes he just misses the comfort, the security, the knowledge that you were his. That's why it stings so deeply. Because even when he's standing in front of you again, saying all the words you once prayed to hear, a voice inside you still whispers, "Why didn't you say this when I needed it most? Why did it take losing me to finally see me?" And maybe, just maybe, that's the part women often overlook, not just why he comes back, but what his return really means. But here's the part most women never realize. When a man only wakes up after you've walked away, it can leave you with a mix of emotions, relief, frustration, even anger. A part of you wants to believe his return means he finally understands your worth. Another part of you aches at the truth that it took losing you for him to see it. This is where your power lies, though. How you respond in this moment sets the tone for everything that comes next. And the key is to handle it with dignity and self-respect, not desperation. The first step is to stand firm in the value of your absence. Emotionally, this means reminding yourself that walking away wasn't an accident. It was a choice born from pain, a boundary you created to protect your heart. Don't erase that strength the second he comes knocking. Practically, this means not rushing back into his arms just because he says the words you wanted to hear months ago. Imagine this. He shows up at your door, apologizing, swearing he's changed. Instead of melting at his promises, you calmly listen, then tell him, "I need to see consistency, not just words." That response holds your dignity because you're no longer handing him easy access. You're making him work to rebuild what he neglected. The second step is to shift the focus back to your life, not just his attention. When he comes back, it's tempting to make him the center again, to drop your plans, cancel your commitments, and dive back into the comfort of being together. But the truth is, the reason your absence shook him so deeply is because, for the first time, he felt what it was like not to have you. If you immediately erase that feeling by giving yourself back completely, the lesson fades. Emotionally, this step means filling your world with the things that make you shine, your friends, your passions, your growth. Practically, it means you don't rearrange your entire schedule to fit him in. Imagine this: he asks to see you tonight, but you already made plans with a close friend. Instead of cancelling, you say, "Tonight doesn't work, but I'm free later this week." That simple choice reinforces your worth. It tells him your life is full and he's not the only thing that matters. The third step is to use your voice, even when it shakes. Too many women let men come back without ever addressing the pain that drove them away. But swallowing your truth only creates a cycle where he assumes he can return whenever it suits him. Emotionally, this means giving yourself permission to express the hurt, not to attack him, but to claim your experience. Practically, it looks like sitting across from him and saying, "When you ignored me, when you treated me like I didn't matter, I felt invisible. That's why I walked away." Imagine this scenario. He tries to gloss over the past, acting like everything can return to normal. Instead of letting it slide, you pause him with your truth. That moment isn't about guilt, it's about self-respect. It forces him to confront the weight of his actions, and it allows you to reclaim your voice. And finally, the most powerful step is to decide that you are willing to let go again if he doesn't rise to meet you. Emotionally, this means shifting from fear, "What if I lose him again?" to strength, "What if I lose myself by staying?" It's not easy, but it's freeing. Practically, it means making peace with the possibility that his return might not last, and refusing to accept less than the love you deserve. Imagine this: he slips back into old habits, pulling away, taking you for granted again. Instead of begging or clinging tighter, you recognize it for what it is, and you choose yourself once more. That decision doesn't just protect your heart, it commands his respect, whether he admits it or not. These steps are not about punishing him or proving a point. They're about teaching yourself and him that your love is not something to be taken lightly. Your presence is a privilege, and your absence has power. When you live from that truth, you stop waiting for him to fear losing you, because whether he realizes it or not, you already know the truth. You are a woman worth fighting for, and the one who truly deserves you won't need to lose you to finally see it. There comes a point in every woman's story when the tears that once felt endless begin to carry a new meaning. They are no longer just about pain or heartbreak. They are proof of how deeply you loved, how much of yourself you gave, and how strong you had to be to walk away when your love wasn't honored. And that strength is something to be proud of. Because even in the moments where you felt invisible, even when you questioned your worth, you still found the courage to choose yourself. That is not weakness, that is power. You see, what men often don't realize until it's too late is that women like you don't come around every day. A woman who gives her heart with loyalty, who forgives more than she should, who stays longer than she ought to, she is rare. And when she finally decides to walk away, it isn't out of spite, it's out of self-respect. It's the quiet but fierce recognition that her love should never have been something someone had to lose in order to value. That's the shift you need to hold close. Your worth was never dependent on whether he chased you, begged you, or came running back. Your worth was never meant to be measured by how hard someone fights after they've already let you go. Your worth was always here, inside you, from the very beginning. His blindness to it doesn't make it smaller. His delays in recognizing it don't make it less true. So instead of seeing his return as proof that you finally matter, see it as confirmation of what you've known deep down all along. You were valuable even in the moments he overlooked you. You were enough, even when he made you question it. You were irreplaceable, long before he realized it. And yes, it hurts to know that sometimes it takes your absence for someone to finally wake up. It hurts to know he didn't fight when you were still giving everything. But let that hurt transform into pride. Pride that you found the strength to leave. Pride that you stopped settling for crumbs of effort. Pride that you now understand the kind of love you deserve and won't accept anything less. Because here's the beautiful truth. The right man, the man who is truly meant for you, will never need to lose you to understand your worth. He won't wait until your footsteps fade to finally chase. He won't risk your absence to discover your value. He will know it in your presence. He will protect it. He will fight for it every single day. And that is the love you are worthy of. So, hold your head high. Let the echoes of your past remind you not of your pain, but of your resilience. Let the memory of what you endured remind you of the woman you've become. The woman who refuses to be invisible. The woman who knows her worth. The woman who has learned that love without respect is not love at all. You are not defined by the ones who only came back when you walked away. You are defined by the fact that you had the strength to walk in the first place. That strength is your power. That dignity is your crown. And that self-respect is what will carry you into the kind of love you've always deserved. So the next time you doubt, the next time you wonder if you are enough, remember this: you were never too much, and you were never not enough. You were exactly what you needed to be, yourself. And one day, the right person will see that, and he won't let you go. Not even once. And if you carry nothing else from this, let these words stay with you. Your absence may wake him up, but your worth was never asleep. The right man won't need to lose you to know your value. He'll honor it while he has you. You are not defined by who comes back. You are defined by the strength that carried you forward.